53 topic is keep thinking, keep thinking. Motivation comes from thought. Every act we take is preceded by a thought that inspires that act. And when we quit thinking, we lose the motivation to act. We eventually slip into pessimism. And the pessimism leads to even less thinking. And so it goes. And downwards spiral of negativity and passivity feeding on itself like a cancer. I like to use this example in my seminar to illustrate the power of continuing to think. Let's say a pessimist has made up his mind to clean his garage on Saturday morning. He wakes up and walk out to the garage and opens the door and is shocked to see just how much of mess it is. Forget this, the pessimist says with disgust. No one could clean this garage in one day. And that's the point. Pessimist slams that garage door shuts and go back to the inside to do something else. Pessimists are all or nothing thinkers. They think in catastrophic absolute. They are either going to do something perfectly or not at all. Now let's look at how the pessimist would face the same problem. Now let's look how to optimist would face the same problem. He wakes up on the same morning and goes to the same garage and sees the same mess and even utters the same first words to himself. Forget this. No one could clean this garage in one day. Now optimist would face the same problem. He wakes up on the same morning and goes to the same garage and sees same mess and even utters the same first word to himself. Forget this, no one could clean this garage in one day. But this is where the key difference between optimist and pessimist shows itself. Instead of going back into the house, optimists keep thinking, okay, so I can't clean this whole garage, he says. What could I do that would make a difference? He looks a while and thinks things over. Finally, it occurs to him that he could break the garage down into four sections and do just one section today. For sure, I will do one today, he says. And even if I only do one section each Saturday, I will have whole garage in great shape before month is over. A month later, you will see a pessimist with a flimsy garage and optimist with a clean garage. There was a woman in one of my seminars in Las Vegas who told me that this one concept, the optimist habit of looking for a partial solution, had made an interesting difference in her life. I used to come home from work and look at my kitchen and just throw up my hands and curse at it and do nothing at all. I used to come home from work and look at my kitchen and just throw up my hands and curse at it, and do nothing at all. She told me. I would think the exact same thing as a pessimist in your garage story. Then I decided to just pick a small part of kitchen and do that, and that the area only. It might be a certain counter or just a sink. By doing just one small part each night, I never resent the work. It's never overwhelming and my kitchen always look decent. Pessimists like to set their problems aside. They think so negatively about doing the whole things perfectly that they end up doing nothing at all. Optimist always does a little something. She or he always takes an action and always feels like progress is being made. Because pessimists have a habit of thinking it's hopeless or nothing can be done. They quit thinking too soon. An optimist may have the same initial negative thinking or feelings about the project, but he or she keeps thinking until smaller possibilities open up. This is why Alan Law McGuinness, in his inspiring book The Power of Optimism, refers to optimists as a tough-minded. The pessimist, as far as the use of human mind goes, is quitter. Pessimist is a quitter. Recent studies says McGuinness that optimists excel in school, have a better health, make more money, establish long and happy marriages, stay connected to their children, and perhaps even live longer. To witness one of the most profound illustrations of practical effectiveness of optimism in American history, I will want to rent the movie Apollo 13. Although the job of bringing those astronauts back from the far side of moon looked daunting and overwhelming, the job was accomplished one small task at a time. The people at Mission Control in Houston who saved the astronauts' lives did so because who saved astronauts' lives did so because even in the face of impossible technical breakdown, they kept on thinking. They never gave up. They looked for partial solutions and they declared that they would string those partial solutions together one at a time until they brought the man home safely. While astronauts' lives were still in doubt, there was one glaring pessimist in Houston ground control who made the comment that he feared that Apollo 13 might become a worst space disaster in American history. The ground commander in Houston turned to him and said with optimism and anger, "On the contrary, sir, I see Apollo 13 as a being our finest hour." And he turned out to be right. He turned it out to be right, which illustrates the life or death effectiveness of pessimist thinking. Whenever you feel pessimist or overwhelmed, remember to keep thinking. The more you think about situation, the more you will see small opportunities for action. And the more small actions you take, the more optimist energy you will receive. You more The more you think about the situation, the more you will see small opportunities for action. And the more small action you take, the more optimist energy you will receive. The optimist keep thinking and self motivates, and pessimist quit thinking and then just quit. In the Broadway musical South Pacific, the heroine sings apologetically about being a cock-eyed optimist. The heroine sings apologetically about being a cock-eyed eyes optimist. She admits she's immature and incurably green. This was an early version of a blonde joke. She confesses as the giddy song soared melodically that she's stuck like a dog on the things called hope, and I can't get it out of my heart. Not this heart. That's how our society has viewed optimists. They are dopes. Society thinks optimist thinking in something that comes from the heart, not the head. Pessimists, on the other hand, are realistic. In fact, a pessimist will never tell you they are pessimist. In their own minds, they are realist. And when they run into habitual optimist, they sneer at them for always They sneer at them for always blue skying everything and not facing grim reality. Pessimists continually use their imagination to visualize worst case scenarios and then concluding that those scenarios are lost causes. They take no action. That's why pessimism always leads to passivity. That's why pessimism always leads to passivity. But even lying on his couch, bloated with junk food and foggy from too much television, the pessimist knows somewhere in his heart that his what's the use attitude is not effective. He is living a life that is reflected in what Nietzsche once said. Everything in the world displeased me, but what displeased me most was my displeasure with everything. Optimists has optimists have chosen to make a different use of human imagination. Optimists have chosen to make Optimists have chosen to make a different use of human imagination. They agreed with Colin Wilson's point of view that imagination should be used not to escape from reality but to create it. Thank you.